All aboard. New tracks. All aboard. Well, good evening. My name is Jim Kello. Welcome to New Tracks Meetup. This is where mentors help modelers build. Thank you so much for coming. You're most welcome. Hope you'll tell your friends about us and ask them to join us too if you think they might be interested. Ed, if you could put my email up. Please register at our website, newtracksmodeling.com. And don't forget to confirm your registration by replying to the email that you'll receive. That way you'll get all of our emails automatically from the website for each of our upcoming shows and be able to get the login links that you need for our Zoom shows. That's the only way that you can get the Zoom link. And make sure that you pass that on to your friends if you want to. That's no problem at all. We just ask that you not post it on any Facebook page or digital group because of security issues. But giving it to your friends is no problem. We have 3 new people that are working on our website now. Jamie Bothwell, Ken Miyamara, and Jeremy Wyant. And I'm really thankful for their help. They're doing a great job as volunteering to take over from John Frankforther, who had to leave. But as any new group coming in, they want your help. So they have asked me to ask you to please look at our website. I'm really proud of it. It's been developed from nothing. We started it about a year ago. When we were trying to start the show, and we knew we needed a marketing tool, the website, and we were able to raise the money from the train shows that we put on, the digital train shows, to pay for it. And we've had volunteers develop it up to this point. And it's been a dedicated group of people, and I'm really proud of it because they developed it from nothing. And all of it was created by the volunteers that are helping to do these shows. So if you have some ideas, if you look at it and you say, geez, I don't like that, there's got to be an easier way, or geez, I'd like for them to do this or take this off, whatever your comments are, please send me an email. I'd like to hear from you. I don't care what the comment is, but we'll look at it and take care of it and try to include it in whatever changes the 3 new people that are the webmasters are going to come up with. So I encourage you to take a look at it. The My Bill section has been redone by Jeremy, and I understand it is posted now. We have an item in the news section that was just posted that I think you'll be very interested in. We'll be talking about more later. And we're going to try to make the website as interesting as we possibly can and as useful as we possibly can. And we encourage and want all of your input. Some of you have been with this show from the first one that we ever did. And I can't thank you enough for staying with us. And I really value your input and your comments. So please take the time to take a look at the website and let me have your suggestions. and we'll get together and decide what we're going to do. We need a lot of help producing the shows. It's all volunteers. And we do the best that we can, knowing we all have lives to lead and so forth, but we sure could use some help. So if you have a little time that you think you could give us, please let me know. Again, you have my email address, and just let me know, and we'll contact you, or I'll contact you, and we'll talk about how you might be able to help us. And we really would appreciate that input from you too. Now let me go to our show tonight. The next My Bill is July the 24th, 2 weeks from today, with Jeremy Wyant. So Jeremy, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Yeah, so the next My Bill, like Jim said, is on July 24th. It's a chance for you to show your project, whether it's complete or not. You can get a lot of good advice on this show. Definitely worth doing it. I've done it a couple times. This is also a special opportunity for the folks that built the King Post Truss Bridge from Hunterline, and Hunterline's offering a raffle after that. And also the folks from LaBelle Woodworking, their closed platform car. That'll be an opportunity for those folks to also show the models they build. And there's a raffle associated with that one too. So please send me email. Let me know if you've got some pictures you'd like to show. You still have 2 more weeks, but the sooner the better, so we kind of have an understanding of how many folks will be showing their models. I think I've got maybe 4 people already, maybe more than that. I've got to go back and look at my mail. Anyway, back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate all your work on this. I really do. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for updating the website page on this. Now I'd like to turn to Ted Becker for our quick tip of the evening. Ted, welcome.
Good evening. You should see some wiring here.
That's what I see.
You know, in a lot of cases in model railroading, we have to tap into wires, like you're dropping in, you're cutting into your, or tapping into your main DCC bus with feeder drops and such. And you have to make T connections like this. And it's always a real pain in the neck to tape them up neatly with the T. So the answer that I've come up with is it's called liquid electrical tape. This is available in the big box building supply stores. You can buy it online. Most hardware stores have it. It comes in several different colors. You don't have to use different colors for color coding, but it helps. I happen to have black and red. Anyhow, you apply it. It's got a big brush. You want it in smaller quantities. I use these little micro applicators. You do have to let it dry as it stays sticky for a few minutes. And quite often you may want a second coat, but to me, it's a lot simpler than trying to wrap tape in those tight situations. Also comes in handy to put a little dab here or there to insulate spots when you're doing decoder installations. So that's my tip for tonight, liquid electrical tape.
Thank you, Ted. It's a great tip. I've used that many times. I'd also like to mention that if anyone has a tip that they think could benefit modelers and would like to have it on the show, please contact either Ted or Paul Thompson. Paul does them on Wednesday nights and Ted does them on Saturday nights. So you can contact either one of them and tell them about the tip you'd like to see included in their segment, and we'll go from there. Because anybody can participate in this. What we're trying to do is give you little items and tips that may be beneficial to your modeling. So all of you out there, I'm sure, have some. And if you'd like to share them with us, just let Paul or Ted know, and I'm sure that we can accommodate you.
I'm putting my email in the chat for anyone who would like to pass on some tips.
Fantastic. I appreciate it so much. Okay, now I'd like to go to some of our special segments for tonight. I'd like to introduce you to a friend, Richard Wolfanger, who's going to talk to us about scratch building one of his structures. Richard, welcome. You're muted,
Richard. You're muted.
I'm still having a problem because if I minimize this screen, I can't get back to where my pictures are. And if I get up picture up, then I can't get back to the meeting.
All right. So there's no way to have a smaller screen then?
Yes, I've done that. Let me see. Okay, now that my picture is up, but it takes up the whole screen. And I don't have any controls other than shows that picture.
In the upper right corner, does it have the three little
No.
controls? Hit escape, see what happens then.
Why don't you have someone else do this and I'll try to finagle this.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll do that. Okay.
I'm sorry that happened.
No problem. No problem. Let me now turn to Chris Blackmore, who's going to talk to us about some of his modeling. Chris, welcome tonight. I appreciate you doing this, sir.
He has not shown up yet.
Okay. Is Dave Silvernail here?
Dave,
I'm here, but I'm having a problem with my computer, so it's going to be another
Okay.
10 minutes
fine.
or so.
Then what I'm going to do is turn to the featured modeler tonight. And gentlemen, I'll come back to you all at the end of the show. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, the featured modeler tonight is all of us. And the reason it's all of us is I had a person cancel yesterday on me. And instead of trying to find somebody to fill in a couple of days, I decided to hold a discussion with you that I just need your input, guys. I really do. And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the future of our show. If you could spotlight me, Ed, I appreciate it. I've got several issues I want to try to discuss and get your input on. And Ed, if you could put up my email, because actually I've got several items and I really want you to take some thought and to comment on all of them if you can individually for me by email. And I really do mean that. I mean, like I say, some of you have been here from the first show that we ever did over a year ago. And I really value your opinions and I need your help here. New Tracks is my baby. It was created about 4 years ago, thanks to Dan Daugherty, allowing me to write articles in both of his magazines under the framework of New Tracks. My concern and the reason I wanted to do that is I've been fortunate in my modeling career to be able to have an awful lot of people help me along the way. I call them mentors. What is a mentor? Mentor? I define it as a trusted counselor or guide. Now, it doesn't have to be the most proficient modeler in the world. because we're all in different categories of modeling. Some of us are novices, and we need all the help we can get. I know I do. Some of us would be considered maybe average modelers, been there many, many years. And I appreciated all the help I could get from anybody during those years. And then some of us are more skilled, more talented, only because we've been at it longer, only because we've made more mistakes than the other people, and only because we've had a lot of help along the way. So mentors can help in many, many ways, regardless of what your talent level is right now. We all need help. We all need guidance in trying to become better modelers. That's what I write about. That's what these shows are all about, are meant to be about. To introduce people to you, to let you know these people are doing this. To know that these people might be able to help me. I think I understand that guy. I think I can talk to him. I may send him an email. That's what it's all about for me. Well, I can't do this myself because I'm not a technician. I have no idea how to put on a show like this, how to do a website, and none of that stuff. I can model a little bit. Got a lot of people I know in the hobby that I can ask to be on the show and try to put together a show for you. But beyond that, I'm lost. So without people helping to get this thing going, I couldn't do these Zoom shows. I can do the articles. That's no big deal for me. I've been writing articles in various publications for over 30 years. But I can't do the Zoom. Got to have helpers to do that. And I'm thankful that so far we've been able to attract people to help us. And we're able to put on the shows, not because of me, but because of the people that are helping to put the shows on for us. So Karen, who is the vice president of marketing for Walters, I called her up and I said, Karen, I need some marketing advice here. Would you help me? And she was kind enough to give me some pieces of advice. And one of the things she told me, just point blank, I think you're doing too many shows. You ought to cut back the shows from 2 a week to 1 a week. Well, I've got to listen to her. I mean, she is a professional in it. I'm not. She deals with these things every day in her full-time job at Walters. I don't. But I want to come to you. What do you want? What do you think? Do you want the shows? Do you think we should cut them back to only 1 show a week? And if so, what day? Either Wednesday or Saturday. And I need you to tell me. If you take, Ed, could you mute whoever that is? I need you to tell me if you think that it should be cut back to 1 a day. And if so, what day of the week should that be? Should we have them on Wednesday or should we have them on Saturday? If you'll tell me about it in an email, or you can talk to me about it right now, it's up to you. So does anybody want to talk about it right now?
So one thing I would recommend on the YouTube side, if you want to know which day is more successful, look at the analytics to at least get a starting point to see where your viewership is coming from. If it's better on Wednesdays from the analytics side, then do Wednesdays. If it's Saturday, then do Saturday. That's probably a place to at least start.
We've done that, and as far as I can tell, there's no difference. That's why I'm coming to you. I mean, to me, that would have been an easy data point to use to try to make the decision. The problem is we seem to be getting about the same audience, regardless of the day of the week it's shown on YouTube and certainly on Zoom. I can any day, any show that we have, there's basically 39 or so people on Zoom, and we'll get 120, 130, somewhere like that on YouTube, looking at the videos afterward, or see the live stream of it. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Wednesday or Saturday, I can pretty well count on that. That's why I'm coming to you all and asking your opinion, how you see it. Because some of you have told me I watch Wednesday, some of you have told me I watch Saturday. I'm trying to gauge opinions from from the people that I really care about, then that's the people on Zoom and YouTube right now.
Jim, this is Greg. I know I'm only one person, but last week I had to not make the Saturday show after coming to almost every one for the last year because we had dinner. And tonight, the next Saturday, I almost had to miss it again. I was fortunate to get out of something. But I think in our case anyway, now that most of us have been vaccinated and we're going out again and everything, Saturday nights seem to be busier than Wednesday nights. That's just my vote.
Thank you.
Hi, this is the other Jim. I'd like to second that emotion there, that because Saturday nights are getting busier for all of us, that
No, I can do
Wednesday
it.
night
I
seems to work better
unmuted
for me.
myself. Sorry, I'm on the phone with you and they're probably hearing me.
Yeah, could you mute yourself? I'm sorry.
I just muted him.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I appreciate that comment.
Looks like we have one viewer here. Split Rock also suggested one show with a high quality. So it's another input.
What do you mean high quality?
That is subjective.
I understand. I'm trying to understand what he means, whoever it was. If he could send me an email, I really would appreciate it, because I'd really like to know what that translates into, that I can try to actually act on. Because I'm dumb enough to think that all the shows are high quality. And obviously I'm missing some points. So if he could let me have some kind of advice and counsel on what he means by high quality, I'd appreciate it.
Hey, Jim, I'd like to throw my vote into Wednesday as well.
Okay.
I think Saturdays, for me, it doesn't make much difference, but for younger folks that are going to be out and about, it's probably going to be on the weekend. And 7 o'clock on a Saturday just really puts a kibosh on a lot of plans.
Gotcha.
Yeah, also, if you are responding, unmute yourself, but then remute yourself so we don't get any background noise.
Any other comments on this?
Yeah, I have Wednesday is a better idea, but because at least during the summer, Saturday is real tough. There's too many other things to do.
I also would, as I mentioned in my email, I'd also go for Wednesday as the date. As for the comment about quality, having edited bunches and bunches of these things, what I've run into, and I'm guilty of it as well, I wind up chopping out a lot of dead space, rehashing statements, going backwards to something else. When you're shooting it live like this, that's almost impossible to avoid. I've done a lot of public speaking, and subjects that I professional subject where I live it for 10 years and I go out and give a presentation. But what we may want to consider is if there's some way that we could pre-record the segments and then give it to the editors for editing and possibly get multiple recordings of it, because for example, the passenger car detail segment had a lot of back and forth. It could have been about maybe a 10-minute, 15-minute presentation, but I think it went 20 minutes or so. So I don't know how we would go about getting pre-recorded videos for the show and get them edited by myself or some of the other folks that are trying to figure out how to do that. So anyway, that's the only thing I can think of for quality, because I know that I take on my segments, I probably delete 15 to 20% of the timeline.
Let me comment on that right now. I agree 100% with you. Boy, that would be fantastic. That would make my life so much simpler. I would love that. Oh man, that's the greatest idea in the world. Because I tried to implement that with my digital train shows is the main reason I had to stop holding them. I could not get it done. I could not get the small manufacturers to respond and to try to get them recorded so that in effect, all Ed had to do when we had the digital train show is press the button and everybody would have been pre-recorded. It would have been a perfect and it would go on just exactly like it was supposed to go. I could not get it done. I had people signed up that had agreed to do the video work for each one of the participants. I had some of the participants do it, no problem whatsoever. I had some of them do it themselves because they were really proficient, no problem whatsoever. The majority I could not even get to attend or to call the people and set up appointments to get the videos. And I got to a point where it was so frustrating trying to make it happen. I stopped the train shows. We will face exactly that problem, in my opinion, because it's hard enough to get people that I know to come on at a special time and just talk and try to be themselves and try to get what they can communicate to the modelers that are out there. Hopefully some helpful hints and some information that can be beneficial to them. That's hard enough. If I try to set up a specific time for each one of these people to come and pre-record their session, and then ask them to come back and answer questions that night that somebody may have on their segments, it ain't going to happen. I'd love to be able to do it, but after my experience with the modelers that are the small manufacturers, I can guarantee you it will not happen.
I'd like to just throw out there, though, that was those manufacturers. Most of the other clinics that are going on now, and I look at NMRAX, is they do have them recorded, and it's quite a smooth operation. They run into problems every once in a while, but I think clinicians are different than the manufacturers. So it's just a suggestion. And Split Rock.
I totally understand what you're saying. We're not the NMRA. We are not the NMRA.
That's not my point, though. My point is that I think there are clinicians that will do it, that will record their presentations, and then they'll be available for questions. They can be in the chat during the presentation, and they can answer questions afterward. I get it that it's different trying to get them to come record with you, but I think they can record and send the recordings.
I kind of second that notion a little bit too, because if you want, especially viewership on YouTube, if you want them coming back, interaction from the presenter and the chat itself is really important. So you really have to figure out what your audience wants to be. Do you want to have a Zoom audience, or do you want to try to have the YouTube audience? The focus is hard trying to migrate those two together. So probably focusing on the operations a little bit more with that.
Well, actually, what we're trying to get is have a Zoom audience, because what this started out to be was a live show. This never, in my mind, was a bunch of clinics like the NMRA is providing. That's not what this was. That's not what I thought that this program was going to turn into. This program is about introducing people and having a conversation that you can have with them and possibly be able to pick up some information from them and maybe have them become one of your mentors. That's what this is all about. I don't look at this as giving clinics. You know, we're not giving a clinic when we do a build along of a manufacturer's kit. In my mind, we're trying to show modelers that are not building models today how to take this kit and build it. And the modeler on the show, from what the feedback I'm getting, becomes the crutch for the modeler at home who doesn't want to build a kit by himself because he's not sure he'll be successful. But if he sees somebody build that same kit on the show and can email that person and ask for their help, that person becomes their crutch and they're starting to build kits. Now that's the feedback that I'm getting. So I've never looked at this show as clinics.
So I'm just gonna add in that that's been one of my frustrations. I've been one of the early ones. I wasn't here from day one, but pretty early.
Yep.
And we were smaller, didn't have a lot of people presenting. So there was a lot more conversation time, which is what you're talking about. And
Exactly.
I've talked to people that we've gotten away from that anyway, because we're moving from segment to segment. We're setting up these segments. So having something that's pre-recorded, that's timed, then we know we have time. We have time to put in some conversation. If we want, you have at least the presenter be able to answer questions in the chat at the very least during the presentation.
Excellent point, and that ties into another question that I'm going to be asking later. I really do appreciate that thought, because you're exactly right. I am concerned too that I've gotten too structured in this, and it's not as free flowing as it started out to be, and that's what it should be, in my opinion. So now I'm trying to figure out how I get back to, what I thought this was going to turn into and has gotten away from and it's my own fault. But now I'm trying to figure out how I get back to that. That's part of the questions, and that your comment fits in exactly with what I'm trying to find out from you all. All right, let me go to my next point, door prizes. Karen also suggested that I needed to spice up the show some. So she suggested you ought to offer door prizes. And because she suggested it, she volunteered Walters to do the first door prize on July the 21st and give a 50% coupon discount off of any in-stock product off their website. We'll do a drawing of the people who have subscribed to our website. Whoever's picked will be the winner, and we'll have 24 hours from that time when they're announced on the show to send an email in and confirm that they heard it and they know what the code is for the winner. What do you all think about the door prize idea? Do you like that idea? Do you think it'll be a waste of time? How often do you think I should do it? Should I do it every show? Should I do it once a month? What's your opinion?
My opinion is I'm not really for the door prize. It'll take up a little bit of time. And if you have to do it at every show, you got to find door prizes for each show. So I think that's kind of counterproductive. I understand where she's coming at from a marketing idea, but I don't think we're into door prizes as much as we're trying to promote, the mentorship in the hobby.
I agree. I'm the door prize to me. I'm a CNO modeler, and if it doesn't have something to do with the CNO in a very specific area of the country, I can't do anything with it. So, and there's a lot of prototype modelers out there now. I used to be a freelance modeler, but a lot of people are starting to focus on very specific prototypes. And for a general door prize was just, well, here's a dairy scene. I need a coal mine. To me, it just doesn't work.
I'll add my 2 cents in here that the people that have spoken have been regulars on the show. That's not what the door prize is for. It is a marketing tool. It's something that we would want to use to promote, to get people to the show. And so I think there's value in it. How we do it, how much time it takes up is something to certainly think about, that we don't want to take up too much time. But I think it's a useful tool if we are using our social media correctly to get people into the show. That's something that'll get them into the show.
I believe that modelers are coming to get tips and to see and learn model railroading, and be they advanced or intermediate or beginners. And I think the time would be better spent providing information that would be useful to the modeler. That 3 or 4 minutes, you could get an outstanding tip or an idea, a modeling technique versus, in a presentation versus spending that time on potentially garnering some prize that, woo woo, big deal.
No, my wife and I were up at Strasbourg today. 611 was chugging back and forth along the tracks. And it was, it's a nice engine, but you couldn't see what that thing did on the Strasbourg Railway. He had to have the train brakes on so he get a little bit of a chuff out of it when it was coming into the station. And I enjoyed it, but it was a nice, we went over to the museum and everything. So while we were sitting there, I was thinking to myself, well, we walked through the parking lot. There was cars from Montana, Kentucky, Arkansas. There was one from Colorado. And they were all over, they came from all over the country to see that thing. And I was impressed. I said, wow. Well, I've got one of the things I was thinking, I have some really good clips of that I took a couple of years ago, and one in particular, when it was starting up out of Alta Vista. It was on a slight grade. The train was strung out around a curve, so he had to really push that engine to get it going. And it is one of the more spectacular steam engine videos I've ever seen. I was thinking I'd take that clip, it's about 1.5 minutes or something like that, and stick it at the end of one of my presentations and not tell anybody about it, but go in there and just at the end, I'll put my face on the screen and say, and hey, here, if you like 611, here's a video clip for you. And people, word of mouth will get out that this thing is there at this site, go get it. That would bring people in at least to see that, well, we never heard of this place before. And maybe we get some people viewership that way. But for word of mouth is the best advertising.
I agree. And I'll go back to the previous gentleman and his comments about it's a marketing tool. It is a marketing tool. You got to understand, these shows that we've been doing twice a week are running 2 hours a show. Now, if it takes 5 minutes in that 2 hours to try to get additional people that have never seen us before to come, I think that's great, because part of my problem, and you've heard me talk about this before, is increasing the number of people that see our show or that watch our show on video on YouTube later. Now, how do I do that? Well, two of the ways that Karen has suggested is, number one, cut back your shows to 1 a week. And if that doesn't work, do it 1 a month. And if that doesn't do it, do 1 every 2 months. And if that doesn't do it, maybe quit altogether if you can't get an audience that you want. So if the audience that is interested in these shows is the audience we have right now, I need to find that out. Well, one of the ways I'm thinking of finding it out, Walters is promoting our new track show for July the 21st on their email blast 2 times. Their email blast goes out to 7,500 modelers. Now, we have right now 383 modelers signed up that get our emails for each one of our shows. Well, if we only pick up a small percent of 7,500 additional modelers, then I would anticipate from that door prize from Walters, if we don't triple the number of people we're sending out emails, I'm going to be extremely frustrated.
Jim, this is Greg. One thing I think about the door prize is, if you do instigate it, and I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but if you do, you might do it once a month, and then after a couple of months, see if those shows have brought in more viewers than the other shows. Then it might tell you if it's working or not.
Exactly. So I agree with that too. Thank you.
So our question I'd like to propose to the panel, and you guys can type it in chat on Discord as well, is how did you find this channel? What was the first video that you found, and how did you find it essentially? Did you find it via Google? Did you find it on YouTube? Just kind of a poll question for everyone, because then they can get you a better idea of where we need to focus the marketing.
Great. Can we do that, Ed, or how do we do that?
I honestly don't know.
Victor, can you post it out and see what response you get?
I just did.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you. Let me know what
Victor did it on YouTube. The thing is, if people put it in the chat is recorded, so we can pull the information off of that.
And put it on YouTube so that they can comment.
No, this is the chat for Zoom. Chat for my assumption is that chat for YouTube would be a separate file.
Okay, can we put it on? Victor, can you put it on YouTube as well as Zoom?
Got a question. Why don't you just ask right now how many people heard from word of mouth? How many people saw it on YouTube? How many people heard about it some other way? Just a show of hands right now.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do that then. How many people heard about it on? Victor, can you do this? I mean, you know what you said a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I'll put a message in Discord as well. You can just type it out to make it easier for logistics purposes.
All right, I would have to say I'm one of the ones that was at the first meeting and all that, and I heard that through Facebook. So how many heard this through a Facebook page? Raise your hand. All right, Craig, Dave, Dan, Anthony. All right, now how many people have heard?
Wait, how many was that, Ed?
Oh, you want me to count at the same time?
Well, I don't know.
You got to count them, yeah.
Somebody's got to count them. I can't see them, so.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5 is you, right?
Yeah, 5 is me. So, and looks like Bob Farquhar. That makes it 6.
Okay. All right. What's the next question?
Next would be what else? Where else were you using after Facebook?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Well, I was saying, YouTube. We just go to YouTube after that.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah,
1, 2.
If you're asking, did I hear from word of mouth? Yes. And then I got the address to go to. Then I went to your Zoom meeting. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. Let me ask a question. How many heard about it first on YouTube?
I see 3.
YouTube is 3. How many heard about it?
4.
Make it 4.
4. Okay.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 6 in this group.
What's the next one then? We covered Facebook, word of mouth, YouTube. What's the next?
How about the ONS Scale Resource Magazine, your column, Jim?
Okay, ONS Scale Resource.
That's where I first found out about it.
Okay.
All right. How many else? It looks like Will also did. So that's 2 through the magazines.
What else?
Google.
Okay, I would also add one more from YouTube, also from a different YouTube channel. So Humanity Junction in particular advertised for us as well. So another avenue is to have other YouTubers promote us and vice versa.
Yep. And also there was also an email through the Great Scale Model Train Show.
Okay.
How about people that can't remember?
That's too many of us.
Well, Ted Becker went and put his hand up on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we just put our hand up for all of them. Then we have.
All right, you know, what this says to me is, and I've been asking for help on this now for about 2 months. We desperately need some help from people who can get us more notoriety, if you will, on these digital sites like YouTube, like Facebook, the various groups, the various digital avenues that are out there. We need people that can help us do that.
Jim, do you have a position, social media management or manager? Do you have a person or thought about having a person in charge of social media marketing? Maybe a recommendation for me.
If I can find somebody that'll do it, I'd love to have that person.
Gotcha.
You want to do that?
I wish I could. I just don't have the time.
Bingo. Anybody out there do what Victor is suggesting that we need? And Victor, now you see my problem. Because we're not getting the visibility on it. So what I'm trying to do is get visibility without having the capability of somebody that can really get us out there on the digital platforms where I know we need to be, but I can't get us out there. I don't know how, and I can't get a volunteer that can give us a little time to help us get out there on the various platforms. That is the problem. So I'm relying on, okay, if we're oversaturating the market with shows, we'll cut back the shows. Less work for all the volunteers. I'm sure everybody will be happy about that, and we'll do less shows. Well, that is under my control. I can do that.
Right.
Door prizes to try to attract people, because the manufacturers that offer the door prizes will promote us at least once on their email blast. I can do that.
So another suggestion too, at least on the YouTube side, another great advertising tool is the thumbnails, and credit goes out to Split Rock on this suggestion. He suggested whatever topics we have, put them on the thumbnail as well. I know that takes some time and so forth, but again, just a suggestion, which I know on the YouTube side, thumbnails can make or break a channel.
Here's the problem. I don't have a volunteer that'll do it. I would love to be able to do that. I'd do that in Ohio. I'd say, yeah, let's do that. But I've got nobody that I can try to burden with more work right now because of the small number of people that are helping. So that's why I keep begging for helpers and for volunteers. For us to get past the place that we are right now, we need help. I know we need help, but I don't know where to go to get the help, because I keep asking for it in my articles. I keep asking for it on the shows every night, but we're not getting the help, feedback in the areas that we desperately need them right now. And that's the marketing in the digital spaces. All right. Any more ideas? Send me your emails, please, because I'm we're airing our dirty linen here tonight, so I need some help from you guys. All right, so we covered door prizes.
Jamie said that he heard about us through word of mouth.
Gotcha. So that's another word of mouth. All right. Next thing up is the segments of the show. I think I've got too many segments. I think we're getting away from the discussion, the live discussion and the chat discussion that I thought differentiated us from a clinic. So I need to deal with this issue. So what I need you to do, I'm going to read off the list that I have here of the various segments that the show has done and is doing now. And I need to know which one of these you'd like to see kept and which one of these you think we could discard and not worry about, particularly understanding I want to try to keep the one show a week to no more than 2 hours. And I would like to get back to more time for people to talk about and ask questions to the people doing the segments. So, first segment, the build-alongs. The build-alongs are where the modeler builds the kit on the show. Manufacturer offers a discount to anybody that wants to buy the kit from him and build along with the modeler. Do you like that segment? Do you think we ought to keep that segment? That's the issue. So if you can make a note to yourself about these as we go down them, because there's a long list of them. And then let me have your comments by email, because I know if we start talking about these, we're going to start going down rabbit holes awfully quick. The next one is the Watch Me Build. This is very similar to the build-alongs, except this is a modeler who can not choose a manufacturer. He's not building a kit from a manufacturer necessarily that other people are asked to buy. He's showing us the model that he's built and how he built it. He's showing us his techniques. It can be a scratch building project. It can be a kit bash project. It can be whatever he's built. And I called it Watch Me Build. Do you like that? Do you think we ought to keep that? Quick tips. These started out as no more than 1 minute. They're taking maybe a little bit more time than that right now. We have them each show. Ted does one and Paul does the other. And you heard one tonight. Do you like the quick tips? Do you think we ought to keep it? My Build. You heard Jeremy talk about it. We started this way back. It started out as something that I wanted to give the people on the show the opportunity to say, here's what I built. Take a look at it. Whether they were novice, whether they were average, whether they were the greatest models in the world, it didn't make any difference to me. I wanted to give people an opportunity and a place to come and say, here are the models I built, and to be able to in effect, show the world that building models is not rocket science. That's what created that segment. Andy's Op Corner. Andy Kinney. He's got a beautiful model railroad. Andy is committed to operation. A lot of modelers out there these days are committed to operation. I thought it was important to have an operation segment periodically on our shows. That's how that was created. Do you like it? Do you think we ought to keep it? What's new? Greg and I talked about this because Greg has a lot of contacts with various manufacturers in the small area. And I thought this will be a way of maybe helping them show their new products and so forth. I've been told, why are you doing this? Every magazine does this for them. By the time you talk about them on the show, chances are they've already gotten that information out in the market somewhere else. With the internet these days, they don't need this for a show. So, question is, do you like it? Do you think we ought to keep it? Trolley modeler. Well, I'm a trolley modeler. I love it. Most people don't. Most people never have no idea about how it operates or what's involved in being a trolley modeler. I thought it might be of interest to you. What do you think? Are you interested in keeping it? Do you think we ought to do away with it in favor of something else? Let's go to the hobby shop. I got some great memories of the hobby shop when I was younger, as a kid. Back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was a safe place for me to meet other modelers, to hear them talk about what they were doing, to learn, and maybe get some help in projects that I wanted to do. Today, I don't have a hobby shop that I can go to, and I ask the modelers on the show if they had hobby shops they'd recommend. I've got 5 now. 1 you've already met, Anita from California. I've got 4 more that I've talked to, and to me, it's kind of these hobby shops are doing something for modelers on the show that is important to them, and they want to share what their model hobby shop is doing. That's why this was created, to bring back those memories that a lot of us have of the past. Build old kits. As I said when Martin and I were talking about it, some of these old kits are on the market right now for almost pennies on a dollar. The other reason is This is what it was like way back when I first started modeling. You opened a box, maybe the plans were there, maybe you understood what they were supposed to do. Maybe even they might even have a photograph somewhere. Chances are there was a bunch of sticks and some bits and pieces of stuff that you hope would work and you hope you could figure out where to put it. That's what a lot of those old kits are like. I thought it was important to try to show that. And that's why I came up with that idea. If you like it, you think we ought to keep it. The featured modelers I've been having, that was when we first started, that was really the reason I started the show, to be able to feature one person and have us be able to talk to them and everything else. And all of a sudden, the different segments started coming up. And I think I got away and carried away maybe in trying to do too much per show. So featured modeler, I've been giving them 45 minutes to an hour. Is that too much? Do we need featured modelers anymore? Had you rather have individual segments and maybe so many segments a show or something like that? How do you feel about the featured modelers? Maybe have a featured modeler, but give them the same 15 or 20 minutes that we give everybody else. I don't know. And is there anything that I haven't included, that I haven't thought of, that you'd like to see as a segment? And if so, tell me what it is. You know, I've gone through a lot of ideas in my mind and tried to pick the best ones that I could come up with. But I'm open to ideas. So any kind of segment that you'd like to see, I'll try to make arrangements to have on the show. So that's the information that I need from you. And like I say, I really appreciate your thoughts and any ideas you have, because all of those segments we can't very well carry forward to if we go to one show a week. And if we do it on Wednesday, I have no problem with that. If that's what the majority thinks is right, then that's fine with me. I'll have to just try to reschedule best I can the Saturday people into Wednesday programs. Some of the Wednesday programs for a while may be awfully full, but you know, I'll do the best of that I can to try to rectify that. You'll just have to bear with me until I can even this out. I probably won't start going to the once a week shows until sometime mid to late August, because it's going to take me that long to try to cancel people and move people and try to make sure that we have some coherence in the show when we go to once a week. But I need your input about the segments that you'd like to see on the show, how you'd like to see the show as we're going forward once a week, say on a Wednesday night. Anybody have any comments that they'd like to make now, or you want to wait and just do it in an email?
Jim, this is Ted. I'm writing you an email right now. So
that's great.
And I'll just put most of it in email. My main comment is that by compartmentalizing these things in these various segments, you're sort of forcing yourself to have content in each one each time. And I think you should loosen up those categories so you have more flexibility.
Okay, thank you.
And you can keep quick tips if you want. If quick tips goes away, it won't hurt my feelings.
I think the quick tips is the most popular segment, so I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. The chat wants it too.
And Jim, this is Greg. I've actually been putting off sending an email, trying to worm my way out of doing what's new anymore, because it's getting harder and harder, and the manufacturers just have less time to get back to me. So I'd actually like to volunteer that everybody say drop what's new.
Okay,
good, you're done.
What's new is now dropped, Greg. Thank you so much for all your past work and efforts. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed doing it, but like I said, it's getting harder and harder, and that's the last thing I need in my life. So
I got you. No problem whatsoever. I understand that. You were there, Greg, when we had all of the great trouble trying to get people to do the recordings and to show up for the train shows, right? You know how hard and impossible that was.
Oh, I know.
You know how many hours you spent working on that.
And that's when we were all locked up inside. It's even harder now, I think. So
I think it is too. So, anyway.
I just make a comment.
That's
Those-
something.
Nope.
That's something to consider. When you started this a year or so ago in the midst of a pandemic lockdown, and now we're opening up. So, like we were discussing earlier on which day of the week to do it once, I would have voted Saturday. But now, when I'm looking at the calendar of the train shows and stuff that are opening up, it's going to be difficult for me to go to a train show and be home in time to attend New Tracks at 4 o'clock Pacific time. So I'm changing my mind from Saturday, and now I'm backing Wednesday. So, like I say, times are changing.
They are. They really are. And it may well be that the show is just, it outlasted its usefulness. I don't know. And if that's true, okay, that's fine. Did the best we could and had it as long as it was valuable to everybody. It's up to you guys, and I'm flexible on this. I mean, we need volunteers. There's no question about that. We can only go as long as the volunteers are willing to help. And there's no doubt about that. And, Victor made some great ideas. Other people have made some great comments of things that we need to do on the digital market to try to grow the show and to try to make the show better. We just don't have volunteers to do it. And I don't know where to go to try to find them.
So another recommendation I'm going to make too, as far as formatting, is decide the length of a segment and then allow the presenters to sign up for a certain time slot. Because then they can also, instead of dictating, hey, we're going to have quick tips every stream, you can ask, okay, is that presenter ready to present, or have them sign up for a certain segment, 10-minute time slot or something. And then if there's no time slot that is signed up for, then we can have an open discussion, open podcast type of environment with the new tracks with everyone on this panel. So I know something to allow the presenters, I guess, the flexibility was time slot to go at. So if we have a 2-hour time slot, they can sign up for, the first 10 minutes of the show or the last 10 minutes of the show or something like that. Just a recommendation.
Gotcha. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just a comment from Canada, and that is, as you guys all know, we have a nice summer, and that's prime vacation time around here because it's the only 2 months of the year, 3 months of the year, maybe 4, that's warm enough to do a lot of outside activities that are a lot of fun. People go away to their cottage or go up north where the lakes are and have recreation. So it becomes like you may miss some people on Wednesday, but certainly on Saturday, because that's the prime time people are away or on the weekends, especially in this part. So I think, anybody in the northern parts of northern states or even and here in Canada, that's what we all find. So I think you're right in changing it to just Wednesday.
Gotcha. Okay. And so the last comment I'll make is about our website again. Like I say, we've got 3 new people doing it. They've asked me to ask for your comments and suggestions to make it better and make it more useful to you. So if you'll please let me have your comments again by email, I would appreciate it. And we'll do everything we can to try to accommodate those comments. Anybody have any more things that I'd like to say about any of this before we try to go back to the other parts of the show?
I'd just like to comment that one of the things is that basically you're preaching to the choir. All of us are here because we want to be, and we're not the people that you're trying to reach. So how can we tell you what would bring us here when you're really looking for other modelers other than the guys that are already here?
Well, I got 2 choices. I try to do everything that I can to make the people that are coming to the show, to make the show as productive for them as I can. That's why I'm asking your opinion right now. I care deeply about trying to have the show as useful for you as possible, whoever you are that coming to the show. The other thing that I'm concerned about is growing the show. How do I do that? Well, the only two suggestions that have come that I have the capability to implement right now is I can cut back the number of the shows, and I can try the door prize idea to try to get the manufacturers to be the sponsor of that show and to advertise for us on their website, on either their website or to send us out the email blast like Walters is going to do. Because I'd love to be able to do other marketing, but we don't have the volunteers with the capabilities of doing it. So while the ideas are great, I can't implement them because the team is not large enough to be able to do that, or doesn't have the expertise to do that. And I'm not getting the volunteers to come that have that capability and that expertise because of their time constraints. So it's two blades for me. One, to try to make the show productive for the people that are here, and two, trying to figure out ways to try to grow the show into other people being able to see it.
Jim,
Okay.
could you explain to us maybe how 2 shows a week is hurting, is keeping us from growing? If I understand what this lady from Walters was saying.
As I understand it, it's too much of a good thing. People look at it and say, "Oh, that's just another new track show." Whereas if Joe Blow does his clinic once a month, and it's pre-recorded and taped, and it's a slick publication, they'll go to that rather than come to an amateurish produced new tracks thing that is twice a week. It's oversaturation, I guess, is one way to put it. I frankly don't understand it, but I'm willing to do it if that's one of the avenues of trying to grow the number of people that would come on the show, be a part of the show.
If I could, I'd like to say to that though, I think part of the new tracks drawing power is the fact that you do have the capability in the format to sit here and talk to people like what we do after the show a lot of times. That's really valuable. And to have that opening in things in a context where like Watch Me Build or whatever or a featured modeler 2 times a week gives that modeler an opportunity to ask questions, where if you go to 1 times a week, then that modeler has, if he runs into a point that he can't move forward, is stuck there until the next communication point.
So another recommendation I can make with that too is by having a 2 show, something that you can do is the first show, you can have it as a structured and kind of lectinar type of show for 2 hours where everyone comes in with the videos or presentations. And then on the Saturday shows, it can just be 100% open discourse. Something I've been noticing with the YouTube channel is that when we have open discourse like this, the viewership is more maintained and the chat is more engaged. So again, this is a point that I kind of noticed.
That's interesting. Well, let me ask you this. Forget that I mentioned the recommendation from Karen about the 1 show a week. How many of you think that we ought to keep 2 shows a week? Ed, how many?
What was the question, Jim?
How many people think we ought to stay with 2 shows a week?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And
How many?
we have 20, and we have 23 participants.
Okay, so 9 out of 23.
Yeah, and that's on Zoom. I haven't seen anything from
how about YouTube?
YouTube yet. I haven't seen anything yet.
Some videos aren't up, so you might want to ask how many want to do 1 show a week.
That's what I'm going to do.
So
how many want 1 show a week?
Oops.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I would also insert another comment about the YouTube side. Right now, we had close to 12 to 13 people watching. If we don't do the Saturday shows, that's 13 people that we're not going to get potentially on a Wednesday. So something to think about. Because there are.
So we got twice as many people who think we ought to stay with 2 shows rather than go to 1 show.
It looks that way.
I would add, I guess my suggestion would be is, as we streamline the segments, if you reduce the segments and you have 2 shows, it's going to open you up for more conversational pieces. There are other YouTube channels and other shows that actually they'll have a show every week or every 2 weeks where it's just discussion. Whatever, everybody's modeling and whatever they want to talk about, and then they have other structured shows. But what you could do to open up, if you want to keep the 2, is reduce those segments, open up more time for discussion, feedback, and back and forth for folks.
Okay, we got 23 people here. Let me go back over my list. We may be able to decide this right now. Make a decision like we know what we're doing here. All right, let's say we keep 2 shows. Because we got twice as many people out of 23 people here tonight. We've got 23 people. What's that? 12 people. We got 9. That's what, 40% or so of the people that are here tonight think we ought to stay with 2 shows. I got no problem staying with 2 shows and seeing if we can do some of the door prizes to get more people to join us. And maybe that should be step 1. And if that doesn't work, then I'll worry about step 2 later on. So assuming that we stay with 2 shows, guys, do you want build along? How many people?
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. I think 10. It probably might be better for people to turn off their virtual backgrounds because your hands disappear.
Okay, I'll take 10 on that. How many people want watch me build?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How many people want quick tips?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
How many people want my build?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, possible 8. And 9. Sorry. Some people are actually using the hands up function on the thing.
How many people want Andy's op corner?
And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I see only 4.
I don't know if that's the quite question there, because Andy's App Corner, I never thought I'd be interested in that, but once a month to have a short session on it, I thought was actually really interesting. That's a different thing than trying to do it every Wednesday and every Saturday. But
none of these except quick tips are every Wednesday and Saturday, Jeremy. I don't know where,
but they're multiple times a month. One month is a whole different animal in my mind.
Okay, but it still takes 15 minutes that time. That's all I'm saying. And what I'm trying to figure out is what you all really want as far as these segments. So Andy's Op Corner has how many? 4?
Yes, that was 4.
Okay.
Also, there's someone chimed in on YouTube. Homewood Wheelman wants one show, but rather have it on Tuesday because Wednesdays is is the church meeting.
Okay. Let me make a note of that. Trolley modeling.
1.5, 2.5. Well, Fred's going like, sort of sideways. So it's one of those things of, I count that as a half.
But isn't he a trolley modeler?
Thought he was.
Yeah, I thought he was. That's what got me confused.
Yeah.
It looks like a total of 3.
See,
Okay.
for me,
Fred?
if you had a segment once in a while on trolley modeling, if it just came up like, I don't think it needs to be a regular segment, but if he just, every so often somebody said, hey, I'm going to talk about trolleys, I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
That's cool. Okay, Fred, every once in a while, if you want to talk about trolleys, let me know. Otherwise, I'm taking out trolley modeling. It's gone.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the hobby shop.
We have one thumbs down.
Ted has his arm up.
One up. Say again.
Ted has his arm up.
Yeah, I don't think that's what that was. Arm was up, but the thumb was kind of pointing down.
Okay. Guys, so nobody really wants that.
Not interested, really, but.
Okay. That one I'm going to override, and the reason for it is
it's your show.
No, because that's where I'm hoping I'm going to get some door prizes, and that's where I'm hoping that they're going to talk about this show, and that we'll get a lot of word of mouth advertising for free, and that's where I'm hoping that they will send us out in their email information when they're advertising to their customer base to try to draw us in. And they have the customer base that we need for the show. So I'm not saying that we'll have this on as a regular basis, but as far as a sponsorship and having the hobby shops involved, yeah, I'm counting on them for our word of mouth advertising, tell you the truth, guys.
So I'm kind of playing devil's advocate with this question, but why the focus on segments should be more focused on the presenters coming forward to you to actually present whatever they want to do. So it's like if a person wants to present the trolley thing, they should just sign up, say, hey, I'm doing trolleys this time. Or if a shop owner comes up to you, they can sign up with you and then they can do a segment on whatever they call that segment. So maybe instead of focusing on the segments, maybe you need to focus on the person who's actually presenting it, and they can just call it whatever they want for that 10-minute time slot.
That's great. How do I find the people that want to present?
Same way you're finding them now.
Yeah, but how I'm finding them now is I'm calling friends up and saying, hey, I think I need this. Would you do it for me?
Well, I mean, that's when you have the backup. If no one's taking the initiative to sign up for a time slot, then you can leave it at the default of just all of us talking about a certain topic, or we'll have a panel or something.
Well, okay.
See, I think, Jim, I think you could have a featured modeler, and that featured modeler could be anything. He could talk about a kit that he's built. He could talk about trolleys. He could talk about anything, but there are a lot of things that you could lump into that featured modeler for that particular session.
What I hear some of you saying is this: forget all of these individual segments that I talk about. Let's just find somebody that you think would be interesting and put them on the show, and let's talk to them about whatever they want to talk about. And then we want to see the build-alongs and we want to see the watch me builds, but we don't care what the build-along is really building, and we don't care really what the watch me build is really doing. We just want to see somebody building stuff. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's about it from my side, Jim. This is Chris.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm proposing, Jim, is you keep the segments open. You still do a sort of a build along or a watch me build, but you don't have it in a compartmentalized segment. And if it's a show that, like, it's a build along and maybe it takes 5 sessions. So for one of the portions of the show for 5 weeks in a row, you do this build along segment. Then following that, maybe it's Martin building an old kit and he spreads that out over 4 or 5 sessions over 4 or 5 weeks. And then it can be something different.
I think there's a lot of us that have a lot of different pieces of information to the overall modeling pie. I mean, like myself, I could sit here and talk for an hour off the top just on chocks or weathering powders, you know, the differences and the getting into the finesse of it. There's other people that can really go into detail about, you know, acrylic paints or something, or knives, using knives or burr bits. So that's just my idea, that sometimes some of us could come up in this open session and say, is anybody interested in learning about, say, weathering powders or something, and going beyond the, you know, 29 cents that most of us know about them.
I would even go. Go ahead.
I got no problem
Raise your
with that at
hands,
all.
guys.
I have no problem with that. All right, so here's what I hear you saying. Let me make sure we're communicating here. We do two shows a week. You like a lot of the segments, but you don't really want to structure it that much. You want maybe 2 guys per show with a lot of time to just talk.
Maybe 3 or 4 guys, not necessarily just 2, but, you know, make it an open panel, because if we can get some input from YouTube or from other people in Zoom as this thing were to grow and get some newer modelers, they may be working on a plastics kit where, you know, we could bring them some assistance.
So 2 to 4 modelers a show, leave it open, leave a lot of time for discussion with those modelers, and then maybe a general discussion after their models are through. Try to keep the total show to 2 hours and do it twice a week.
Don't forget about the comment that a lot of the fun is after the show.
This is true.
A lot of us really enjoy the after show more than the regular show.
Well, do we need a regular show? Let's just do the after show then. Why don't we just sign it up? It can start the show and everybody can start talking.
And YouTube loves that.
I understand that.
I still like the idea of a featured modeler of some kind, because that's where you've brought so many excellent modelers that I've never maybe seen before, or their layouts, or the way they build stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know if you're having more trouble finding the kind of quality featured modelers that you had a good portion of last year, but you had some fantastic modelers and artists that for an hour to an hour and a half kept us captivated with what they had built or what they were doing or their story behind it. And
Greg,
I'd love to see that.
Greg, I agree with you 100%. And the show did not grow. And that's that, Greg, is what I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind asking friends, come on my show, do this, blah, 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 you know, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I don't mind going to the Manufacturers Association and say, hey guys, come on my show. Let the modelers tell you what they need. Let the modelers talk to you about your product. Let the modelers hear you talk about where your company is going in the future. I don't have a problem trying to get them to buy into that concept. The problem I got is that going to grow the show at all? Or is the show what it is right now? 20, 25 people, maybe another 12 on YouTube, and then maybe another 100, 120 or so that watch the video later. Is that the show? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people out there that would enjoy the show if we can reach them. I don't know how to reach them.
How did, if I may ask, how did this group start in the first place?
I had people from my magazine articles say, Jim, why don't you do the same thing on Zoom? and Chris Lane invited me to come to a Zoom meeting that he put on for the ON
130. Yeah.
Can get ON 30. Ed, can you silence that? It's driving me crazy.
I thought I had. All right, I think it finally kicked in.
Okay, and so I had those requests, and Chris Lane invited me to an ON 30 Zoom meeting that he did. And I thought, geez, maybe Zoom is what these guys are talking about. I'd never heard of Zoom before. So I called up Chris and I said, hey, how hard is this to do? And he said, well, you got to have somebody that knows what they're doing on Zoom. And I thought, I have no idea how to do Zoom. So I got to try to find somebody to help me on Zoom. And I went to Kevin McCumber and I said, Kevin, I need some help. You know anybody that might have the sophistication to run the Zoom part of a show if I put this on and do it like this? Do you know anybody that I could approach? And he said, Dylan Lambert wants to do something like that, but he doesn't have he doesn't know what show to do. He said, you call Dylan Lambert. He said, I'll talk to him and Dylan will do a great job for you. I called Dylan. Dylan said, yep, I'd love to do it. And Dylan and I sat around and talked like we're talking now for a while and decided how we were going to do this. We started on only Saturday night, first couple of weeks that we did this. And then I had so many people that started accepting, they wanted to be on the show as presenters. And I was trying to limit the number per show so that we had time to talk about what was being talked about in those early shows. And so I had, I was scheduling people a month, 2 months out already after the second week. And Dylan said, my God, how you finding all these people? I said, Dylan, it's not that hard to find the people. They're out there. They want to share. Their problem is they don't have there's nobody doing this right now. And, I'm coming along saying, hey, Frank, how about doing this for me? Oh, yeah. And it was the same. I went back to my magazine article people, the manufacturers that I had written about, the people I had written about. And I called them back up and I said, hey, you remember I wrote this article with your profile in it. How about being on my Zoom pro? Oh, yeah, no problem. Oh, love to do that. Well,
So
then
and I'm not being, please understand what I'm saying. You're running out of context. You've been calling people, and they've joined. And there seems to, I was fairly late in taking part in this, but it seems like there's a core group that have sort of been with you from the outset, but perhaps you're running out of people to contact, if I understand your question.
Not at all. I've got people.
Well, then that's a good thing then. So there are people, because I'm with Greg. I think you have to have some sort of structure. I think the open forums and the discussions are great, but I think the potential, if you just do that, you're going to end up you're going to end up at a point where there's going to be 24 people on the screen saying, what do you want to talk about tonight? And there's going to be potentially silence.
And I'm not interested in doing those shows. I mean, it's not worth my time. That's not what I started out to. That doesn't accomplish anything for me.
And I agree 100%. I think an opinion I would have is to benefit would be a playlist ahead of time. I think once a week might be more beneficial from an organization.
But Al, the playlist is there. My God, all you got to do is look at the website. Or look at my Facebook page. It'll be on there tonight what the next show is all about.
Yeah, I'm just reinforcing that, Jim.
I understand, but I mean, I've had people criticize what we're doing because we don't give enough information out. The information is out there. My God in heaven, we're sending it in emails, everything else we can think of. Our problem is we're getting some word of mouth now, I think, but we're not getting enough. And I don't know, I'm trying to find out how to reach a larger audience. And since I can't find volunteers to help me in the digital space, the only two things that I had was Karen's suggestion of cut back to one show a week. Well, I've run that by and we decided we're going to stay with two for right now. And the other is door prizes. Well, I think the door prize, I've got to try. It's something I'll throw against the wall. If it doesn't work, I'll stop it. But my gut feeling right now is to offer a door prize every show. If it takes 5 minutes of a 2-hour show, so be it. I mean, nobody can be critical of that kind of a time frame if it helps us attract more people to the show. If it doesn't, and then nobody likes it, okay, we tried, it doesn't work, so be it. We'll do something else. But going with 2 to 4 people a show, if 4 people, that's 30 minutes apiece. If they want to talk 15 or 20 minutes, that's another 15 or 20 minutes for questions for that person. That sounds pretty good to me. How about you guys?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
it's fine.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Like
So
I
we'll-
said, I think.
All
it's
right, so
better-
I'll try to restructure it a little bit like that. I won't necessarily talk about the segments. I'll just talk about the people that are going to be on the show. And that'll be the playlist, the people that will be on the show presenting something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And we'll kind of go like that. And if I call them featured modeler, because I've got featured modelers pretty well signed up through September now. So it was going to take me a while to try to weed, that situation out anyway. So I've got the featured modelers. I've got build alongs scheduled through November right now. So that's no big deal. I can keep the build alongs. Well, with the featured modeler at 45 minutes and the build along, say at 30 minutes instead of 15, that's an hour and 15-minute show. Or an hour and a half show. So I have one more person on the show. That's a 2-hour show with a lot of conversation in it. And then the after show can be whatever everybody wants to talk about.
I think that we do one up here once a month. We're getting together tomorrow for the first time since for almost 2 years. But what we end up doing is having we should have show and tells, which is more or less my builds, but guys come out of the blue and do off the wall things. Like somebody will do a 20-minute demonstration on how to make grass tufts with a static grass applicator, or how to use oil brushers, or more like one of the other fellows mentioned about weathering powders, little clinics like that. I think you would draw people, not necessarily off the cuff, but if you can get people to come on and just do anything, how to clean paintbrushes, how to use an airbrush, whether you should use aerosol primer or not, anything, an embellishment of what Paul does on his quick tips, make the quick tips a little longer and make them beneficial to anybody that's building anything.
Yep, I agree. Okay.
If I may, can I throw out one other idea here about acquiring some assistance in some of the marketing people?
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out here in case somebody on YouTube or something sees this, but if there is somebody that knows some high school or college or junior college teachers, maybe this could be, the marketing could be a project for them to get some extra credit or worked it into a class curriculum or something. It's just an idea of maybe some other source that might be able to assist.
And if you find a good one, send them up here to help me sell Sanders.
Oh, God. All right.
Jim.
Anybody else?
Jim,
Yep.
I am very sorry I didn't get to upload my pictures and screwed up your show.
You didn't screw up the show. We had a great show.
Yeah,
you
you
can
do.
find one of those young college kids to show me how to do pictures. I'll build him a door prize and he can have it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna have to reschedule you to come back, because there's no point, I don't think, in trying to start. It's 8:45 about right now. You're gonna have to get with Ed, and Ed can walk you through it and everything before you get on next time, and I think it'll go much better for you, Richard.
I wanted to tell you that Ken called me on the phone and we talked about it, getting together sometime before the next show comes up.
That's great. That's great. We'll talk later. I'm sorry about tonight, and those things happen, and I'm not worried about it. You didn't hurt the show at all. Don't worry about that part.
Can I can I make a comment about the presentation?
Yes, sir.
I found for me as a presenter, and not just here, on some other formats too, it works a whole lot better for me to share the whole desktop, and then whatever applications I open up show up the way, and it's more of a what I see is what you get kind of situation, rather than sharing the individual application. That works better for me. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Gotcha.
The problem I had was when I put up a picture and I click share screen, the whole outside of my monitor went black and I had no controls whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think if you share the whole desktop, you'll retain some of those controls.
All right, I'll try
And
it.
you can find it on the desktop.
And one thing that Ken
Of course,
mentioned,
every operating system is going to be slightly different. I'm running Linux. A lot of you guys most of you are running Windows. Some of you are running Macintosh.
one thing that Ken mentioned on the phone was I should hook up a laptop to my computer as a second screen and then share it with myself to see if it works.
Okay, well, I'll let you and Richard, Richard talk about that later, you and Ken, or
Right.
you and Ed, or whatever, but I'm not worried about it tonight, don't worry. And Dave, would you mind if you do it the next time, I postpone you from tonight because this ran so long?
That's fine. I can do that.
Okay. When do you want to do it? A week from now?
Yeah, do it on a Saturday. Wednesdays are actually tougher for me, but
All right, so we'll do it Saturday, the 17th.
yes.
Got it. And Richard, I'm gonna count on you for Saturday, the 17th.
Okay.
So that'll give you a week then from now to get with Ken and figure out what you need to do.
Okay, thank you.
So that takes care of our show tonight, gentlemen. I know this was a little different one. I can't thank you enough for your feedback and your help. It's exactly the kind of thing that I was hoping to get from you. And
Chris is Jim. Chris is also here. He's been here now.
Okay, Chris, I'm sorry that we kind of missed you when you weren't here earlier.
Yeah, I had a little issue, but anyway.
So can I push you back to the 17th of July?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll put all three of you then coming back on July 17th. Now, that means July 17th, gentlemen, is going to be a loaded show with a lot of different people, but I can't very well start pushing everybody back, but I'll so if you'll bear with me, it may be a little bit over 2 hours of total show, and but we'll get everybody in and try to keep everybody happy. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you again so very much. I really do appreciate it. The next show, Wednesday, July 14th. Our featured modeler is Paul Wusan. Paul, you may remember, tried to present a few months ago about the NMRA's LCC program. And he got his computer was not working because of where he was in the world at that point. And we postponed him and did something else that night. And so I've invited him back. I really think the NMRA's LCC has some potential for some of us. I'm not sure it has any potential for the small modeler of a small model railroad. At least if it does, I don't understand it yet. So that's why I'm interested in Paul coming back and trying to explain it to us. So he'll be here. Martin Breckfield MMR will be building this old kit again. Bill Davis is going to be here to do the build along of the LaBelle passenger car. Jamie is going to be back talking about passenger car small trucks. Earl Hackett will be back about making 3D parts. Chris will be here. Chris, you're supposed to be here again on the 14th. So the 14th, you'll do what you were going to do tonight, and then you'll push the 14th to the 17th. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. So,
Jim, I'm not going to be here on the 14th. It's going to be the week after.
you are not here on the 14th. It's the 17th that you're going to do that.
No, that'll be the 21st, the next Tuesday.
Gotcha. So it will be on the July 21. So, how about, Richard, you want to do yours on the 14th to replace Jamie then?
Only if I get the videos in control.
Okay, I'll leave that up to you and Ken. If you'll let me know if you want to do it on the 14th or whether you'd rather wait until the 17th.
Okay, I will let you know.
Thank you. So that's our next show then. Please visit our website, newtracksmodeling.com, for any more information about the upcoming shows. I can't thank you again, guys. You've been so helpful tonight. I really do appreciate it. I hope that I can get the shows a little bit better for you now and make it more like you'd like to see. And I hope you'll go with me on the door prizes for a while to see if that helps try to increase our attendance and visibility. And again, if you can tell your friends, because I think word of mouth is the best way to try to get more people involved with us, I really would appreciate it. So thanks so much for coming tonight. Thanks so much for all of your comments, and happy modeling until the next show. And Ed, that's it.
All aboard! New tracks! All aboard!